history of Yarloop goes back to 1893, when the Miller brothers, who already operated a sawmill at Denmark near Albany, established a small sawmill 3 miles south of Wagerup, adjacent to the government railway line. The original company, Millars Limited, started by the Miller brothers, have over time had a number of owners and name changes. Present owners are Gunns Limited of Tasmania. The West Australian Government Railways installed a small railway station and siding called the Yarloop by the workers at the sawmill. It is believed the name Yarloop comes from this siding or yard loop. The original Yarloop sawmill was quite small and had a fairly short life. It was replaced by a number of larger sawmills in the Darling Ranges, with names such as Klondike, Hoffmans and Nunga Brook. They were all connected to Yarloop by an extensive private railway system. First locomotive at Yarloop, Ki Ora, still exists and can be seen at the Bassendean Railway Museum. Largest, Jubilee, built in 1897, ran until 1941. Last operational locomotive, number 71, Menzies, is now owned by the Hotham Valley Railway and kept at Pinjarra. Major workshops were set up in 1896 to repair and maintain all equipment used at the sawmills owned by Millars. The workshops have been preserved as a steam heritage museum and are open to the public. Now for a look at the museum. Old railway wagons. Railway tracks at the rear of the main workshop. Logging wheels or jinker, used to move logs in the forest. The workshop foreman's office. Here are some views of the main workshop and old machinery used there. Workshops even had an iron and brass foundry. There are many old and picturesque houses and cottages still standing in Yarloop. Some are the traditional style, 4 rooms, front door in the middle, and 2 windows. Dunny down the back. Others, like the doctor's house, were more luxurious. Yarloop Church. like everything else, built from timber. Still in use today. We now go to the sawmill, starting with the mill office. The present Yarloop Mill started operations in 1962, following the Dwelling Up fire in 1961. This fire burnt out the Nangerbrook Mill and caused the closure of the Hoffman Mill. Before the present sawmill, all timber was sawn at Nangerbrook or Hoffman's and delivered to Yarloop by Millars' own trains for kiln drying before sending it on to customers by the government railway. These days, whole tree trunks are delivered by large logging trucks. Logs delivered to the mill are placed in huge stacks, ready for debarking and further processing. Whole tree trunks are picked up by a large Caterpillar front-end loader and delivered to the debarking machine. Major sawmills, like Yarloop, are full of very large, very dangerous and very noisy machinery. The debarker is no exception. Almost like a giant robot, it is controlled by a human, pushing buttons and moving levers in the safety of his control cabin. Debarked logs are removed and temporarily stored ready for sawing into planks and boards. Saw blades must be kept razor sharp and in good repair. This is a highly responsible job done by the saw doctor and his assistants. All saw blades used at Millars' sawmills were sent to the old Yarloop saw shop by railway train for sharpening and other maintenance. Large band saws were common in early days, where large carry logs up to 2 meters or more in diameter were available. monster band saws like the one you see are no longer used in Australia. Instead of band saws, sawmills now use huge circular saws with blades up to 2 meters in diameter. The blades you see here are 72 inches or 1.8 meters in diameter. Blades on saws are often changed and sharpened twice a day, depending on the type of timber being cut. When they enter the saw shop, the saw doctor inspects them carefully for cracks and dents before sharpening. The method of sharpening is basically the same as used 100 years ago. After sharpening, they receive a final inspection and coating of oil to prevent rusting. You are now about to watch the final run of the twin saw. It has been idle for more than 2 years due to large logs no longer being available. The operator, or sawyer, is offered some protection by a very basic control cabin. First, blades are checked for cracks and buckling. Then, blade guides are carefully adjusted. Then start up for the first time in 2 years. Like all other sawmill machinery, it is very dangerous as well as being very noisy. Bottom motor, 150 horsepower. The top motor is 100 horsepower. Log to be cut being rolled onto the carrier. Pushed into final position. Final check that the blades are running correctly. Final push, then dogging down to prevent movement.
Last night.
Away we go.
just going to get the tops off. Yeah, actually we had 5 saws on the other side, horizontal ones that come out.
Notice the sawdust and smoke. This one won't let go. Operator gives assistance using a wedge. And there she goes. Log moved in toward saw blades for second cut. No manual handling. Everything is done by conveyors and robot arms. Checking again. Log now rolled over. Pushed in. Dogged down. Cut free. Down the conveyor to the secondary saws.